to see everybody. It's good to be back. I've started just a couple minutes early, so I'm going to go ahead and wait for everybody to come online. Um, but, in case you're watching the replay, I appreciate you tuning in. And I am so glad that I'm getting to feeling better, getting some stuff done. I was sitting here waiting for time to come on, and I was doing a little bit of sewing. That's the first sewing I've probably done in a couple of months, so or a month and a half. So I am so glad to get to do Quilts and Coffee live this week. I hope everybody has had a good week. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm running inside here. But I hope everybody has had a good week. Hope you have some good things planned. So going to go ahead and kind of give you a little update on why I've been out. I have been sick. I have been sick with something for a long time. I have been sick for about 10 months, and I am finally getting to where I'm feeling some better. Actually getting to get around and doing things a little bit more like myself. And when you've been sick for so long, you get really weak, and it's been very difficult to do regular household things, much less try to get up and go to work and do things like that. And I started the channel with the anticipation that I'd have a little bit more time to do that. Work was a little slow, and because I was sick. Uh, Good morning, Michelle. Michelle's always good about giving me comments and stuff, and I do have some others that are. Uh, um, but work was being a little bit more lenient with me, where I could stay at home and do some things, which I have a hour and 15-minute commute in the morning and again in the evening when I have to go into the office. So that also kind of took out of my energy to have to go into the office to work. But I'm feeling better this week. This has been a much better week. I have not had to use a cane or a walker, except for when I was doing a lot of shopping. I take my walker when I have to do a lot of shopping so I can sit down. That is a huge improvement from when 3 months ago they're telling you they're thinking about putting you in a nursing home. And I thank God for being good to me. He doesn't have to be good to me. I'm nothing special. But just to know that, God has more plans for me. I'm excited for what's coming up. And with all of this that's been happening, my family's fixing to have to take a little bit of a financial reset. And we're going to have to downsize our home. And so I have a lot going on emotionally and physically. And so we're trying to look for property. And when I say downsize, we're going to probably go to a tiny home. And we're already in the works of looking at properties and buildings, and I'm making plans. That's kind of along the lines of my regular job and I'm making house plans and things like that. And so, I want to present more content. I appreciate. I don't mean to leave you coming on and then on here giving you good content and then just kind of falling away. But I'm not gone. I'm just going to have to slow down a little bit. There's a lot of personal things going on. But now it's closer to time for me to have really gotten started. So I am going to go ahead and get started today. Again, I am very thankful for everybody that is on and who are watching now or on the replay. I appreciate those that are tuning into my channel. I completely understand there is other places you could be spending your time or other channels you could be watching, and I appreciate that for you tuning in. So today I have pulled out some of the stuff that you could say, if quilters have archives, this was an archive. So this is a quilt that I had done probably 4 years ago, and I had bought the fabric, and it was an ombre batik, and it was a little bit different than the one that I had done the another tutorial with the the batik Irish chain. I have one of those videos. If you'll check my videos, you'll see that and how it turned out. This ombre batik was a little bit different. It really didn't have as much color variation in within a 2.5 inch area. And so I was kind of going like, what do I do with this? And so not just the batik, think about a fabric that you have that's nice on its own, beautiful, has its own little character on its own. But you want to do something, but you don't know what to do, but you really don't want to cut it up. This is kind of where we're going with this. This was a beautiful fabric that I really didn't want to cut up because I wanted all of that variation to show. And so what I did was I cut these in large blocks of 10-inch squares. They might even be 12-inch squares, but cut them in squares. And then I put 4 of them together with the way that it's done. You know, it's got a line through it. It either went and turned them opposite so that you could actually get some pattern out of it. So this was to just get something done quick. I didn't want to cut it up. I thought I was going to lose a lot to it. Good morning. I'm glad you're tuning in with me today. And thank you for everybody tuning in, even if you're not commenting. And so this is just a way to get a fabric that you don't really know what to do with, that's kind of special and beautiful on its own, and make a quick quilt. So 10-inch squares, I might have done 12-inch squares, and then let me stand up, unfold it, and show you what I've got. And then I'm going to kind of tell you, some things that you can do to make this different. So this makes a very quick quilt, and it has very big blocks. You really can't see because I really don't have the room here to show you, but this makes a very quick quilt. And all I did was put some 2.5-inch strips between that, and just probably a 5 or a 6-inch border. And because I have done this so long ago, but there it is. And this will give you an idea of, if you have beautiful fabric and it stands on its own, then just do something like this. And you could also do like in opposite corners, do the fabric, and then do something that was like a patch. It's a 4-patch of something else, or fabric that was kind of in the line. And then whatever your patchy blocks, your sewn blocks equal, then cut your solid piece to match it in size, and then make you the bigger 4-patch. So you can make several different variations of that quilt. And, I like to try to come on and give you ideas on things. And even if you see something, how you can get a different idea from it. And that's what that's all about. It's very simple. That is very quick to make, very quick to cut out, very quick to put together. Sometimes we got emergency situations when we have to make a quilt. That would be a great thing. And if you've got beautiful fabric, and then you've got some in the line that's not so great, they do that. They put the real pretty one on the front, and then you go like, I got 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 that look like they're like background fabric. Well, you could take those background fabrics and make like a 4-patch, and then put the real nice one, and then make it, you could do something with it. And so I'm trying to just, my goal is use what you have. We all have a stash. There is Karen Brown did this week a tally of how much yardage she had. And I'm not going to be a spoiler and give it away, but if you watch her, Karen Brown with Just Get It Done Quilts, she has a monster stash of fabric. She will never in her lifetime be able to sew that up. But the thing was, be aware of what you have, and are you able to use it all? pretty much none of us are able to use our stash up, but we keep buying stuff because they keep making beautiful stuff. They get us, they know how to get us. And so just trying to show you how to use up some things that you have and kind of make it look new. There's a lot of people that don't do quilting. They're not going to know that's old fabric. So, and you can still make something beautiful and a keepsake and something to encourage somebody. So another quilt that I have that we're going to review today is I got inspiration. And like I said, you're going to hear a lot of times that I have inspiration from Missouri Star Quilt Company. They are how I learned how to do quilting. I would have never started it if it hadn't came up in my little playlist one day when I was sitting there going like, I want to do something. I'm just kind of sitting at the house. I just want to do something. And so 8 years ago, I started quilting and I have not quit yet. It gets you, it gets you. So the quilting bug. And so this was one of those extras that Misty had done. And she had taken a dark colored or a black, yes, a black solid 5-inch square. And then she had took a honey bun that was some browns and beiges and a little bit of gray and a little bit of steel blue and stuff. And she had made a log cabin style quilt block and set it on point. Well, I'm not good with setting stuff on point. So I thought I could make something. I have this real nice fall colored, it's got a little bit of blues in it, and I've got some other fabric I can put with it. Some fall colored batik fabric. And I'm gonna do something similar to that, but not exactly the same. And so what I came up with, let me unfold it enough where you can kind of see. Let me get a block that you wouldn't have seen in the preview in the community tab. So then I made blocks like these where I tried my best to put darker on one side and lighter on another side. And it was a little difficult because of the way that everything was in this roll of 2.5-inch strips. Now this is actually yardage that I had, and I had to put in some yardage because I didn't have enough lights and darks. That's what I ran into with this. But it has made a beautiful, beautiful quilt. It is more leaning on the fall to masculine look. Let me push my chair out of the way and stand up and try to show you as much of this as possible. But it makes a beautiful quilt. It goes together fairly quickly. I know I've got some colors that are kind of together there. It gets a little difficult to mix it up sometimes when you get your lights and your darks going there. But you know, this kind of reminds me of something. I was looking at a block on a quilt on a place, it's a Fabric Cafe. But you know, they have the 3-yard quilts. I had made a screenshot of one of their quilts. And when I was looking at it today, I was sitting there and I was going like, they have a block in there wrong. You know, I'm probably the only one that ever noticed that. If you do a block, and I'm going to say on that around the block quilt, there is one of those blocks that I put together wrong. And I said, I'm rolling with it. I'm just rolling with it. Sometimes our mistakes are not to the point that we need to get so worked up that we got, oh, I have to rip that out. Then I'll have to do this. Now I have to do that. Sometimes we need to roll on with it. We want to present something pretty and special and enjoyable to somebody. I get that. But, you know, Angela Walters, if you've never heard this, the reason why she has the little saying that she does about the finished quilt, you know, finished is better than perfect. Yes, keep moving. Yes. the reason why she has finished is better than perfect. She had made a quilt for her husband's grandfather that taught her how to quilt. And she had spent a lot of time learning how to quilt from him. And so, which is, kind of unusual. Man, this is not typically a man's hobby, but, we got some out there that can do some great creative things. So, I've been watching some other channels, and there are some very, very nice things I've been seeing. And so back to Angela Walters, and she's saying that she was making a quilt for him, and he was in failing health. And she was sitting there, and she was going to have to tear out part of her quilt and redo it. And she said, but I got to get it done. And she got it done, and she presented it to him. And then she went home, and shortly after that, he passed away. So that's the reason why she said that finished is better than perfect. If she had took time to make it perfect, then she would have not been able to give this gift of love back to the man that taught her how to do quilting. So, and I've had items that were not perfect that I have given away, and I've told them, when you get to looking at it, it's not perfect, but they usually don't even notice that until I tell them. So, I just want you to be motivated to get something done. And I probably didn't need to say that, because I haven't done any sewing except for this little bit right here, right before we came on, just to kind of keep me from, going like, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it? I want to be on time for the show. So I probably don't need to be passing judgment on anybody, but if we need to be encouraging in this world full of discouragement. And so it's always nice to know that somebody is taking time out of their day to do something for you, and they don't have to. So, all right. So I've gone over a couple of quilts. That's kind of what I do, is go over a couple of quilts, kind of give you a tip or a trick or something that I've kind of figured out or found out. And so what I'm going to go over now is about fabric storage. Okay. So I've been looking at the comic book boards. A lot of people use those, and I'm going like, I've got a lot going on right now, and I've got to get my fabric kind of organized and put away. We are going to be moving here probably in the next 2 months. So I'm going to have to do something to where I have got my fabric sorted where I can see it. And the last place that I owned, I used to have it where I had cut up cardboard and made little bolts of my fabric, and I put it out on a bookcase, and I could see it, and it was wonderful. I could see what I had. I go like, oh, this looks like that'd be good. I could get up and go get it and then come back. So I have not had that opportunity to do that living here. So what I have done is I have tested something that uses up something I have. It may be something that you have. Okay, so let me get a little bit of stuff here. So what I have done is I had cardstock, and I'll show you what I've got. Sorry, that's shaking, but just regular cardstock, the heavy cardstock. And I go like, okay, so am I going to spend $35, including little clips, to put something up? And I thought, I'm going to try it. So I had took a regular sheet of cardstock, and I folded it in half, just like this. So what I did was I went like this, and I made sure that these edges met, and kind of crimped it down. And then right here, crimped it down on this end, and then pushed it down through here. That's all I did. And this made something that I could buy at my local store and know it's going to be there, cardstock. And then I could use it to put my 1 yards up to 1.5 yards. About 1.5 yards is about all it's going to hold. You're going to have to do something different for that. But, if you've been buying fabric for 1 yard quilts, then you are set. So here is what I had, some 1 yard quilt. This has this cardstock in here. This doesn't, and it's one. This is a little less than 1 yard. This is 1 yard. So it gives it enough body to where you can, put it up like a little row of books on a bookcase or on a shelf if you've got something to hold it up on each side. So, if you kind of going like, I'm not necessarily sold on the comic book boards, which I wasn't. And I thought, but I've got to do something because of my personal situation and needing to categorize things. I'm going like, I have this cardstock. I'll just fold it in half. So it's going to tell you that if you don't have your fabric organized. Then I have another little tip about, let me see where to put that. I got my little basket of goodies. I didn't show that in the beginning. But so I have been wanting to do some little bags and things. And if you're doing like a real simple bag, the simplest thing I know to do, and you may know this trick, but this is something, and it's washable and it's durable, and the only seam you have to tend to is the seam where it's cut, and that is grosgrain ribbon. All you have to do is make sure this end right here is either sealed or sewn to where the edges are not there. Then you can sew these by, making the handle a little bit more durable, like sewing it in thirds and stitching it down the sides and making little handles for little bags or something. If you make shopping bags, reusable shopping bags, they would be great. And they're colorful. You're not going to have to worry about the ends fraying. You're not going to have to worry about doing all the ironing to get the crease to crease it in half, and then in half on both sides, and then back together, as binding. It's done for you. I don't think I would do it for a quilt. But for like a bag that you're not gonna, be there on the ends a lot, it's already got a finished edge, and it would be something that help make the project go a little bit quicker. So I appreciate everybody taking time to be here today. I didn't mean to leave, but I've been sick, and I've been needing to kind of rest up a little bit and kind of get my bearings on some personal things and some financial things for the family. And but I do appreciate everybody spending time here today. I know you could be watching other channels and spending your time doing other things. I really appreciate that you're hanging in here, even though I have not provided any new content in a while. And so I hope everybody has a great week. And I hope that I'm reading a comment about binding. Do you think that biased binding is much better than biased binding? I have honestly, because of it's kind of expensive to buy it. It's kind of wasteful to make it. If you're doing straight edging with binding, you can go ahead and just take 2.5-inch strips that's cut regular on the grain, regular cut. If you're doing something with a scalloped edge on your quilts or your projects, yes, you would definitely need bias binding, or you are going to have a whole lot of little pleats and puckers. I could say that it might last longer. Yes, because it would give in the wash and the use and the wear and tear. But the binding that my grandmother would use, she never cut it on the bias. And but that doesn't mean that there's not great use for cutting on the bias and using bias binding. But mainly the grosgrain ribbon was for like crafts for bags. I would not use that on a quilt at all. Is I don't even think I would use it as an embellishment. There are some, yarns and lace and things that you could use as embellishments on quilts, but I don't think I would use grosgrain ribbon as an embellishment. I just don't think that with, the way that it's used, but with a little bag that you're going to use just for a little bit, I think that would be okay. So, but thank you for your comments. I do appreciate that. We're just, if anybody else has any more information about bias binding and how they use it, and if they have any different results, then, just you're welcome to comment. And so this has been a great Saturday of Quilts and Coffee. I appreciate everybody spending time here. And I hope that y'all have a great week. Hope that this past week has been great. And I am hoping to be back next week. I'm hoping that I'm on the mend. And I appreciate you spending time here today. And I know that you could spend your time elsewhere. Y'all have a great day, and I will catch y'all later. Bye.